and make any adjustments, and then prepare the capital replacement program for next fiscal year. The capital projects, Fund 13, is essentially the city center. So right now we have revenues of $2,417,160, and then projected expenditures of $5,367,360. So that creates a deficit of $2,950,200 or $200. Then we have the TIF Larkin, the TIF for Larkin Avenue, Route 30, of revenue of $35,000 and expenditures of $35,000. So as Lisa pointed out in a memo she provided, the only change, we made a slight change here in the appropriation because the revenues were incorrectly identified as other revenues, and the revenues for the TIF district are actually coming from property taxes within that TIF district. So the dollar amounts haven't changed, it's just reflecting the dollars are coming from the actual TIF district property taxes, not from other revenues. Then Fund 30, we have the debt service fund for water and sewer. That's balanced as well. The revenues and expenditures are the same. General debt service for the city center, the same thing here. The debt service dollar amounts are the same, so it's balanced at $773,350. Then we have the West Plant Rehab. That's balanced as well. Revenues and expenditures match at $6,137,000. Then the fund for garbage pickup, the revenue is $1,373,937. Expenditures are a little bit less. That creates a surplus of $25,423. Then when we have the police pension fund, the dollars for the revenues and expenditures are the same, so that's balanced. And then the police special assets is $8,500 for both revenues and expenditures. So that brings us down to the citywide total. So all those funds total together have revenues of $40,482,454 and expenditures of $43,938,298, which creates an overall deficit of $3,455,844. And as we're showing here, if you pull out the police pension fund, that gives you a total without the pension fund. And then that has a deficit of the same amount that I just mentioned, $3,455,844. So that deficit is going to be paid for out of the general fund balance. So we have a reserve balance in the general fund that will cover that deficit. So that's an overview of all the funds in the budget. The one other item I want to mention was the memo that Lisa prepared that identified, a few changes or clarifications from the last budget that was presented to you. So that references the one item that I mentioned for the TIF district. And then there are two other items in here. One is a slight increase to the information technology budget. When this originally was presented to you, we didn't have the final numbers on a couple items for the antivirus software and the backup system. So that increased slightly by about $20,000. And then we also have in here a cost in capital projects for the entry signs, the gateway entry signs, $143,000. That's not the full cost. That's only for budgeting some of the gateway signs for this year, because we would do it over multiple years. We wouldn't do it all in 1 year. So that's reflected in the memo that Lisa provided.
So Jim, can I just add something? That
Sure.
was from, the changes he was talking about were from the work session that we had on 425. So when we redistributed the budget on 5.2, those changes he talked about were in that budget that you had in your previous package. So nothing changed from 5.2 till now. Those numbers are the same.
Can I just, quick question? So if we pull reserve 3 million, we pull 3 million from reserve, do we have, like, what is the balance of the reserve?
Our reserve is about $10 million now.
For the
right?
general fund.
For the general fund.
10, okay.
3.4.
Is,
Yeah,
Okay, anything else, Jim?
No, that's all I have.
So that'll
Okay.
leave us about 6.6.
In general terms, yes, in the general fund.
Okay, hang on for council questions, sir. First, I want to turn over to our treasurer, Glenn Conklin, for any comments you'd like to make in regards to the budget. I know you were involved in the process also.
I think it's been laid out pretty clear. I entertain any questions if you have them. You're balanced. You're gonna be pulling from reserves. That was money that's essentially your savings account. So generally, that's where you pull capital projects from, and you've been building on that for a number of years. You've actually got more in your war chest than you probably should have. It's hard to say you have too much, but it should be put to use.
Are you stating that before the reserve pull or after?
Oh, I think, what are we sitting, about 10, 11 months in reserves? That's gonna knock us back about 4. 3 months would be healthy. 6 is a little overcharged, you know, or very robust. So we're still in a really good financial position, better than most by leaps and bounds. And you'll be probably looking at future projects like roads through that, through our, I hate to call it surplus, but through our reserves.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Ollie will ask Lisa if she has any comments, our finance director, in regards to the budget. I know you did an awful lot of work in regards to this, along with Jim also.
So I just wanted to thank everybody. I wanted to thank the city treasurer. He's been amazing. And council, you guys have provided a great, tremendous amount of support to me, just for history and just, you know, standing behind me. And also the department heads too, thank you. It's been an effort. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. So working with the treasurer, we'll try to bring more information to you as often as you need it. If you want it quarterly, if you want it monthly, it'll be up to you. Trying to just, again, maintain that line of communication and make sure that you're getting the information you need in a timely manner. So I wanted to thank everybody. It's been a great experience for me, and thank you, Mayor, also.
Okay,
And Lisa deserves a lot of credit, too. I mean, she did a lot of work on this budget. This is her first time going through the fiscal budget, my first time as well. There's a lot of background she had to get caught up on. She brought a lot of information to me, and I think she did a great job, along with the department heads pulling all the information together for the budget.
Okay, before we move on, just some comments from the mayor for our residents that are watching on television also. Some budget highlights that I have written down in regards to the 2022-2023 budget for City of Crest Hill. The budget is certainly, as we all know, the most important document in the city for every fiscal year. It is a fluid document that constantly changes throughout the year. The budget was published in the Joliet Herald News. We did hold 2 work sessions, one on April 11th, 2022, the other one on April 25th, 2022, in regards to the budget proposal, along with several of the department heads. You have before you a balanced budget in the general fund that has been presented to City Council for approval with a surplus of $91,000. Some of the individual highlights from each of the departments. First, from the police department, this budget includes the hiring of 2 additional police officers, and to make our community service officer to go from part-time to a full-time position with the Crest Hill Police Department. Also, in regards to our police pension fund, our police pension fund is funded at 75.5%. Comparing to other communities surrounding us, 75.5 is a fantastic number to have for our police pension fund. Most of the communities are far less than that, most of them in the 30 and 40%. We will continue as a city of Crest Hill to meet all of our contributions and our obligations, and with our additional contributions, we are scheduled to be fully funded on our police pension fund by 2038. State law is to be funded at 90% by 2040. So we are in a very strong position with our police pension fund, and we're in a much better position than several of the other communities within the state of Illinois. So we as a city of Crest Hill, we as a city council should be very proud of these accomplishments that we've been working on for the last 15 years in regards to the police pension fund. For the public works, the MFT monies this year will be used for road rehabilitation on Arbor Lane, on Rock Run Drive, and on Bicentennial Drive. We will also be doing design engineering, will be done this year for the 5 blocks of Center Street and Cheney Avenue. And the road project will be started in 2023 at an approximate cost of $1.7 million. In regards to our water and sewer department, this budget includes upgrades to our SCADA system. It includes lining of the water main on Route 30 from Susanna Drive to Six Corners. Since 2011, as everybody knows, we have had 29 water main breaks in this area. This is going to be a $1.9 million project to line this water main and hopefully decrease and stop the number of water main breaks on that roadway. So that's long overdue. In regards to well number 14, the new well near the backside of New City Center, that well is needed to be constructed for our Lake Michigan allocation. I certainly want to send out my thanks to our state representative Natalie Manley. She has promised us $400,000 in a state grant to go towards the installation of well number 14. We are also in this budget planning on start construction of our new West Sewage Treatment Plant, which again is long overdue, which was built in 1968 and upgraded in 1993, I believe it was. So that again is long overdue for the city of Crest Hill at the West Treatment Plant on Gaylord Road. It also includes hiring a wastewater lead operator and a project manager for the Lake Michigan water transition to help us with compliance of Lake Michigan allocation and the sustainability of Lake Michigan water. And again, this is going to be a $65 million project for the city of Crest Hill. But I believe that when we look at the long range of the Lake Michigan water, it's going to be a great move for the city of Crest Hill, which will be sustainability for the next 100 years for several generations to come in the city of Crest Hill. Those are the budget highlights that I have written down that are included in this budget. I certainly want to extend my personal thanks to our city treasurer, Glenn Conklin, to our city staff, mostly Jim Marino, our city administrator, and to Lisa Banovitz, our finance director. I can't tell you how many hours they put into this budget. I appreciate all the hard work that all three of you have given for this city and working on this budget. It's been some changes over the past, so I certainly want to extend my gratitude to all three of you. I also want to extend my gratitude to all of our department heads, our police chief Ed Clark, our public works director Mark Seifert, and our building department Kirk Wilkins for all of their hard work and their help in going forward with this budget also. I also want to thank the city council that's sitting here for their cooperation during this budget process. It's always difficult, but like I said, it's the most important document that this city has every year. To our residents, I want to say to our residents, you should be confident that we are being fiscally responsible with your money to provide the same level of service that our residents have come to expect and to improve the quality of your life. So with that being said, that are the comments from the mayor in regards to the 2022-2023 budget. With that, I would ask if there is any public comment. Please step to the podium, state your name for the record. Your address is optional for any public comment in regards to this public hearing and the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. Let the record show that no one has approached the podium for public comment. With that being said, I will turn the agenda over to the city council for comments. Let it be known that this is the time and the place for city council to ask any questions, to make any comments you would like to make in regards to the presentation of the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. After this, we will be moving into our city council meeting. At that time, it will be the vote on the budget. So if the council has any comments or questions of any of city staff, please feel free to ask at this time.
Well, I want to thank everyone for the time that they put into this. But to me, every time there's, when you dig into reserve, to me, it's like a red flag, to me. Maybe not to most of you. I am okay that it's not in deficit, but again, we're tapping into a reserve. And I have a hard time when our streets are crumbling. We keep saying we have a healthy budget, but when we're only able to do 3 or 4 streets a year, if that. So that's my point of view. I feel like we should be able to take care of our roads a lot more than that. So we can sit and say we have a healthy budget, but do we have the money to do streets? We don't. That's the way I see it. I asked a question of Lisa, our finance director, when we're doing all this hiring, if we're able to sustain these hiring, and I didn't get a yes or no answer. I got hopefully. Am I right? So that's the only concern that I have. I think those are major concerns, but that's the way I feel.
Anybody else?
Well, I will add to my 2 cents to, I agree with the majority of what she said. I think we should be very cautiously optimistic at this point, but I think we have a lot of things to keep our eye on. And I think she's made a lot of those points. I won't reiterate them, but I do agree with her wholeheartedly.
Last call for city council.
You know, Mayor, I think, you know, at the end of the day, this is a tough, just a tough job altogether to decide what takes priority and what type of work needs to get done. I agree that there are road improvements that, you know, I'd like to see with some of the big infrastructure work that we are starting and having to do with the Lake Michigan water and, you know, the well projects and stuff like that. I'm very pleased with how Lisa and Glenn and Jim have developed this budget, and our treasurer is saying that, you know, our reserve fund, yeah, we are tapping into it, but that is what it's there for. And, we've been saving for some of these big capital projects, and I'm just glad to see some of these things coming to a completion. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I will be closing the public hearing for the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget at 7:44 p.m.
Get 2
Ready, Chris?
Just 1 second, let me get this. Okay.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call the the Crest Hill City Council meeting of May 16th, 2022 to order at 7:45 PM. I would ask for everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
Liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please, Chris.
Ray Solomon.
Here.
Glenn Conklin.
Present.
Scott Dyke.
Here.
John Shea. Darrell Jefferson.
Here.
Claudia Gazal.
Here.
Tina Oberlin.
Present.
Mark Sepiti.
Here.
Nate Albert.
Here.
And Joe Kuba.
Here.
Motion carries.
Okay, we do not have a business promotion this evening, so we will proceed with the agenda items. First is the approval of the city council meeting held on May 2nd, 2022. Motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for the approval of the minutes of the city council meeting held on May 2nd, 2022. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Shea.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kuba.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And you also have before you the minutes of the work session held on May 9th, 2022. Motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Albert, second by Alderwoman Gazal for the approval of the work session minutes held on May 9th, 2022. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
John Shea.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kuba.
Yes.
And Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our city attorney, Mike Stiff. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I do not have any agenda items. Of course, I would answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions of our city attorney? Okay, thanks, Mike. Moving on to our city administrator, Jim Marino. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I've got 4 items for you. The first item is a lease with Dell Technologies, a 48-month lease agreement for computer equipment in the amount of $29,876.28. This includes equipment for the police department. We currently have 20 desktop computers in the police department that are 5 years old and incompatible with the current version of Microsoft Windows. Those need to be replaced with laptops. We also need some microcomputers. These are computers that are smaller computers that would be used in the new city center and police department in the conference rooms, in some of the meeting rooms, and then also a new tower computer that we would use for the public access channel to replace the one that we currently have. We could purchase these computers outright at a cost of about $31,000, but it's a little bit less to lease them at about $29,000. One benefit of leasing is that every 4 years or so, we would replace all those computers with new ones. So we would get an update to the hardware and the software, and instead of replacing computers piecemeal, we would replace them with a new lease every 4 years, and then we'd have a consistent and standardized amount of computers in hardware.
Okay, motion would be in order to approve a 48-month lease agreement with Dell Technologies for computer equipment in the amount of $29,876.28.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Overland, seconded by Alderman Albert. Questions or comments in regards to the motion? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kuba.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item is the approval of a purchase of computer network backup hardware and a 3-year backup service plan from SHI International Corp. in the amount of $42,800 $1,070. This backup system would replace what was provided by Vertec. We were paying Vertec, it was about $24,000 a year to manage our backups. This new system with Unitrends would save us about $29,000. It would cost $42,870 over 3 years. With this, we would have a comprehensive computer backup system that includes 2 high-end computers to replicate the backup with the associated software and recovery service. This system will have an effective disaster recovery process that will allow the business continuity with minimal recovery time. I talked with Tim Stinnett. He evaluated all the different options for backup systems and says this one best meets our needs, provides us more than adequate backup and recovery, and allows him to manage the backup system, which we did not have previously with Vertec. They basically had full control of the system. Now with Tim here, he'll be able to manage and monitor the backups on a level at what we need for everything we have in our system.
And we are saving like 10 grand like that, right?
Right.
In the long term?
Right.
Annually, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long, if we approve this, before we implement this?
That would be by the end of the month. So once
So
it's approved,
then-
Tim has got everything lined up to place the order and get everything up and
We
running.
will stop spending money on Vertex then?
Correct. Right.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Overland, seconded by Alderman Albert for the approval of the purchase of computer network backup hardware with a 3-year backup service plan from SHI International Corporation in the amount of $42,870. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
And Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next 2 items I have pertain to the budget and the appropriations, which we've already discussed at the work sessions and the public hearing we just had. So the first item is an ordinance making appropriations for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2022 and ending April 30th, 2023.
Motion would be in order?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Alderman Albert, seconded by Alderman Kubal for an ordinance making appropriations for all corporate purposes for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2023 for the city of Crest Hill. Questions or comments? Roll call, please,
Is it
Chris.
possible that, when you say appropriations for all corporate purposes, can you give me a little detail on what that includes?
That's all the funds that I went through. So it's all the funds that I reviewed during the public hearing. Those are all the corporate purposes that we're budgeting for.
So
Appropriating
nothing will
funds
be
for.
added to this for the corporate year?
No.
It would be specifically what we talked about?
Right, and that's all compiled in the ordinance that's being adopted.
Roll call, please, Chris.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Verche,
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 1902.
The next item is an ordinance adopting a citywide budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Albert, seconded by Alderman Kubal for an ordinance adopting a citywide budget for 2022-2023 fiscal year. Questions or comments? Roll call, please, Chris.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
and Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 1903.
Okay, anything else, Jim?
Just a couple items. I have the final version of the vision report that we put together during the visioning session, so I will send that out to you via email, and then I can also provide paper copies. And the other item I have is just I want to commend and thank Public Works for putting on a great event this past weekend with the Touch a Truck. I think they did a marvelous job with that. The kids seem to enjoy it very much.
Okay, any questions of city administrator?
Any updates, any new updates, I should say, on the water damage?
Yes, so they are still assessing the repairs that need to be done. They removed all the flooring that they needed to. Everything's been dried out. The claims adjuster from the insurance company is supposed to be up tomorrow to look at the situation and the damage and what repairs need to be made. We took photographs of everything, and those have already been submitted to the insurance company. So they'll start the process of, evaluating the extent of the damage and what repairs need to be made and the cost that they will cover for that.
I noticed that the facade was like moved as well from where we sit,
The,
the whole front of it.
at the dais?
Yeah.
Yes, so there was some damage to the front of the dais and also to the platform behind the dais. So they had to remove some of the flooring there. That's going to have to be looked at and rebuilt as well.
Do we have an estimate time of when all this will be? No.
No, not yet. So Harbor Contractors is working on reaching out to the contractors, the subcontractors that did the flooring and did some of the other work we're going to have to order new flooring, new carpeting, and then schedule the work for them to do the replacement. So they're in the process of putting that together now. I don't have a specific timeline, but I'll keep you updated as I get more information.
Is the timeline heavily impacted by insurance, I would assume?
It can be. I'll find out more after I talk to the adjuster and get more information. They haven't done their full assessment yet because they haven't been on site. As I said, we provided them with some of the information that we already have, the photographs and some of the other information. But as we get the remainder of the information they need, the contracts, cost estimates, they'll compile all that information and let us know, how we can proceed from there.
I have one more question. Who is doing this investigation? Like, how this happened?
Well, I'm going to start with the insurance company
Okay.
and see how involved they get. I don't know to what extent they do the investigation. It appears to be a faulty sprinkler head. We do have that sprinkler head, so the insurance company is going to want to take that sprinkler head, and they may talk to the manufacturer. I'm not sure exactly what their process is, but we're going to start with that and see where the insurance company takes us.
Is there any way to know with that sprinkler head if maybe there was a recall or if there was, any other possibility of any of the other sprinklers that were installed at that time, along with that one, the possibility of them being defective or causing damage in the future? Is there any way to?
We'll be looking into that. We'll be we already had an initial conversation with the company that installed the sprinkler system, but we'll talk with them some more, and I know the insurance company is going to want to talk to them themselves directly, and they'll get answers to that as well.
Is there any possibility that they will cover some of that cost since it was their sprinkler system?
It's possible, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it would be good, something to look into. The other thing, I find out that the air conditioner is not working.
It is working now.
It is working now?
Yes.
So it's kind of disappointing for a construction company that is in charge. They're not monitoring these things. I have to go out there. We need to hold these people accountable. I mean, we can't keep doing the same mistakes over and over. Part of being in this field, you check if the temperatures, it's warm weather, which has been hot for 90-something the last couple day or week, whatever. How is it possible we don't have air conditioning on? And if the air conditioning was bad, why were we not notified? Why was it fixed at this point,
Well, the air conditioning wasn't bad. It just wasn't turned on for the season, and I don't know exactly, what the scheduling
And I
for
have a
that
hard
is.
time understanding this, because I used to run spec homes, and spec home in the winter, we turn the heat on. Constantly, we check them on a daily basis. Vice versa, in the summer, you turn the air condition, you monitor the temperature on a daily basis for spec homes. For a construction company that's handling millions of dollar job, I'm having a hard time. And who is overseeing these people? Like, who is overseeing their work at this point? Like, is the our building commissioner overseeing this, or who's managing this company?
Harbor?
Yeah, who's managing them? Who's watching over them?
Well,
Because my understanding, we pull Kirk, our building commissioner, out of this. Who is approving everything that they're doing?
well, I've been working with them and overseeing, and I've been pulling in the police department for everything related to the police department side of the building that Harbor Contractors is working on, as well as Public Works. So we're working on it together collectively with Harbor Contractors. And I think what may have happened is that during this transition from Kirk to Harbor, some things didn't get handed off properly. And that may be where the problem was and why the air conditioning system wasn't turned on at the time it should have
Well, I
been.
have to agree with you with that, because we pulled Kirk and Brian like this instead of doing a transition. There's a transition where you pass something to the next person, just like right now, we have a new economic development, and Steve's still working with him because there's a transition, and that's my opinion, that's how we should have done, instead of pulling them right away, and there's other people trying to figure out what's going on.
There was a transition.
Yeah, we didn't pull them. Brian stayed on for a week, and then Kirk stayed on for at least 2 weeks, if not more, and was on site with Harbor for a 2-week period.
And nobody could catch an air condition? Wow.
I had a few concerns myself. One of them being an issue that's really kind of alarming to me, that I really hope we're going to check to the nth degree for, is we do not want any mold in that facility. We do not want any mold in the sheetrock. We don't want any mold on the concrete, because that is just going to be an issue ongoing that we do not want to deal with. So are we going to have an inspection to make sure that that place is free of mold before we put new flooring down, new carpeting down, because when something gets flooded, the sheetrock, lots of times you have to go up and cut it at a certain height and replace that as well, because it gets wet. And the last thing I want is to build a multi-million-dollar building and move into it, 6 months later, black mold's all over it. So that's really a big concern of mine.
Right.
And I hope we're addressing that
Yes, the insurance.
meticulously.
Well, the insurance company will address that, because I did speak with the claims adjuster on Friday, and he told me that is one of the components of their assessment and evaluation, is they will bring somebody out to do an assessment to make sure there's no mold.
The last thing I want to see is our employees going to work in a building that could potentially be filled with mold. That's the last thing I want to see.
Right. I don't expect that will be an issue, but we're going to have it tested. The insurance company is going to require that to be tested to make sure there isn't an issue. One thing that's good for us is the on-site supervisor for Harbor was the one that discovered the sprinkler system was activated, and he shut it off immediately, and he called our restoration company immediately. And before I even got out there this morning, they were already in the process of cleaning it up, drying it out. So they got on top of it immediately, and they removed the flooring, and they even cut some holes in the drywall to improve the airflow, to dry it out as quickly as possible. So it's not like the water hadn't been sitting there for days and
No,
days
on
on
Friday they
end.
had everything cleaned
They were
up.
on top of it right away,
Yeah.
so that
But when
should
you
help.
say immediately, how long was this sprinkler head running? I heard it was running like 15 hours.
About 4 hours.
It's a lot of water, though.
Oh, I know.
4
I
hours
know.
is a lot of water.
When the sprinkler went off, how come the alarm didn't go off?
We're looking into that as well. That's a good question. I don't know.
Another one of my questions I didn't get finished
Right.
answering, but that's okay. Well, and that is another one of my concerns, is why an alarm didn't go off, why nobody knew this, why we were getting all this water. And as he said, I would want to make sure that these other sprinkler heads do not have the same failure, because, wow, what a mess that could be.
Is the alarm system fully installed and functional?
Jason, we talked about this earlier today. So it's installed, but we have to make the final connection to Westcom. Is that correct?
Yeah, just before this meeting, got off the phone with the director of Westcom, told him about the incident and asked how soon we could get the radio that transmits over from the alarm. That was never set up, so that will be set up. They are going to put a rush on it for us, so I'm waiting on the paperwork to get over to us. We will fill it out, and I'm hoping that'll be done tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Literally about an hour before this meeting was on the phone call all day to handle that. So that should be functioning sooner than later based on that. So Westcom was very accommodating to us, saying that they will get on it right away. It's a small connection fee, so I'll get that full amount for everybody, but it's talking a couple $100 to get a connection fee.
Well, I appreciate that, but unfortunately, here's another thing that was overlooked, he said. So we have a series of things that were overlooked, that, you know, are biting us now.
So it wasn't a matter of the alarm system being defective, it just wasn't
Connected.
functional for a signal or an alert to go out.
Yeah, the tie-in between the building and Westcom was not made, and I don't know why we're looking into that as well. I think the contractor that installed the alarm system typically makes that final connection and does the final testing with Westcom to make sure everything's working properly, but we have to look into why that didn't happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of unanswered questions that need to be investigated, so.
So will this impact the budget of this building? Or is this gonna be an insurance claim that we hope is covered 100%?
It'll be an insurance
Yeah.
claim, yeah.
Okay, and with the hope of it being covered 100%, not
Right.
finding, man-made error or something.
Right, and our deductible is $5,000, so that should be the only cost we incur.
And they'll make us whole, and they'll go suing everybody they need to make themselves effective.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Moving
Quick
on.
question, I'm sorry. Are we renewing this insurance since we still, you
So
said
the
it was
policy
June?
goes through, you're talking about the bridge policy that we have
Yes,
right now, so
for-
it goes through June.
Are we reinstating that?
We will until we have occupancy, because our current provider will not provide that unless we get the certificate of occupancy. So we need to speak with Berkeley Marine is who we currently have it through, so we'll speak with them about that. But there's also a couple other options we could go with, who could bridge it for us.
Well, we don't want to
Yeah,
be
we're gonna
without.
extend it.
Oh,
We're gonna
no,
have a
okay.
bridge. We have to.
Okay.
We're gonna be fully insured until, through the bridge insurance, until we take occupancy, then our regular insurance carrier will take over from there.
Thank you.
You typically need to pay an annual premium, and they get prorated rebate after. I can change that.
Okay, moving on to our Public Works
No, we
Director, Mark Seifert. Good evening, Mark.
We have, can we have a motion? Oh, no,
For what?
just, I mean, you,
How much for what?
I'm sorry.
All right.
That was voted on. My items, yeah, we voted on.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first agenda I have before you tonight is the design contract with Robinson Engineering for a not-to-exceed dollar amount of $106,000 to design the lining of Route 30 water main. This has been talked about many times. We talked about during the budget cycle. So as soon as council approves this contract, we'll get this over to Robinson. Hopefully they can design this pretty quickly, get our permits, and hopefully go out to bid this year.
So
So
moved as
moved.
presented.
Get this done.
Long overdue.
Yep.
All right, I heard a lot of first and seconds.
She said first, I said
A
second.
motion by Alderman Albert, seconded by Alderperson Oberlin for the approval with Robinson Engineering to perform professional engineering services related to water main lining along Plainfield Road. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Verche,
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
and Nate Albert.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
The next agenda item I have before you is an implementation and project plan with Strand and Associates. Since we made the decision to go to Lake Michigan Water in 2030, one of the first steps is how to implement the changes that will happen to our water supply system. Strand, when they did the water supply or the alternate water supply, they were just looking at which water supply is the most cost effective and efficient for the city for the future. The next part is, how do we get there? How do we do it? What's the implementation? So Strand will now work on the process of what exact internal improvements, conceptual site plans for delivery stations, including tanks and sizes, conceptual transition plans, converting our wells to emergency backups, along with opinion of probable costs for all of this. Also, Strand will start working on a project plan, which is the first step for IEPA loans, low-interest loans. You have to have a project plan submitted to them and approved. The other items included with the project plan, in addition to everything with the alternative water supply, would be the lining of Broadway, Theodore, and the remainder of Plainfield Road. Those are three main thoroughfares that we do not want to be digging up. So we'd be looking at lining those potentially in the future. So getting the project plan approved to get that IEPA funding in place right now. So I'm recommending a not-to-exceed contract with Strand & Associates for $119,000. This includes $70,000 for implementation, $10,000 for on-call support for the switch and regional water source outside of the plan, and $39,000 for project plan.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Overland, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal, for an agreement with Strand Engineering on an alternative water supply implementation plan and project plan not to exceed $119,000. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
The next two contracts I have are very similar. One is with Strand and one is with Cornwell Engineering. The first one was with Strand for the OCCT. That is the optimum corrosion control treatment desktop study. This is so when we switch to Lake Michigan water, the Lake Michigan water does not interact with our current water and our pipes to create harmful reactions, to have any sort of metal or lead flake off and hurt our residents. This is directly to prevent another Flint, Michigan, where they switched water supplies. They didn't react well together. So this is a process that everyone in the Regional Water Commission is going through right now. Strand is handling the city-specific stuff, and then Cornwell Engineering is a nationally known firm out of Virginia who the EPA looks to for guidance in this area. So they will be doing the Lake Michigan portion, and then once we go into where this is just for the desktop study, once we actually start getting into the live study, we'll be shipping containers of Crest Hill water and Lake Michigan water to Virginia for them to run through our pipes that we'll ship out there. So this is the desktops portion to come up with a plan on how to run the study and get it approved through the IEPA. So I'd be looking for two approvals, one with Strand and then one with Cornwell for the OCCT desktop study. The Strand is a not to exceed of 23,300 and the Cornwell is a not to exceed of 22,000.
All right, let's
look for
take
the Strand first.
Let's take the Strand one first for motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Albert, seconded by Alderman Dyke for the agreement with Strand and Associates and the OCCT contract not to exceed $23,300. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
and Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Okay, then a motion for a contract with Cornwell on the OCCT for an amount not to exceed $22,000. Cornwell Engineering Group.
So moved as presented.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Overland, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal for an approval with Cornwell Engineering Group. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
And Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
I have no further agenda items, but I want to thank all the council members who were in attendance on Saturday, and for all those who supported us in our open house and touch a truck. Our final count was around 250 people that came through. It was a great event. I did not hear a single complaint, and if they did, they didn't get back to me, so it's even better. But I appreciate all the help from surrounding staff, from the utility billing office, from the police department, letting us borrow a vehicle. I think it was a great day. It was great weather. I know there was a lot of great pictures that have gotten sent to me, and it really was truly an awesome experience that we hope to have a Touch a Truck every year now, because it really did bring the community together and let kids come and see what we do. It's a great kickoff for us for Public Works Week. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Are you gonna call it Retouch a Truck?
Any questions of Public Works?
No, I
Okay.
just have a
Like
comment.
it.
You basically exceed my expectation. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good. Like, you and your team did an above and beyond amazing job. For being the first time, it was excellent.
Thank you.
Like, 100% good. I mean, even how clean the trucks were, like shiny, brand new. My daughter's like, are these new trucks? I'm like, no, they use them. I mean, they were like shiny, everything. The whole Public Works looks clean. I mean, it was just like, you guys thought of every detail. The only thing I think was missing was like a bar for like the adults, like Happy Time. Beside that, I'm just saying, I know. No, I mean, it was just above and beyond. Like,
Thank you.
I can't even thank you enough. And yeah, I saw it like in the faces of the kids, the resident. It was good job.
The bar will not be in the future plans. So-
Oh, because the liquor commission, we're not gonna allow it.
So let me just say to you, Mark, as Director of Public Works, to Blaine Klein, as the Assistant Director of Public Works, to all of your staff, to the Police Department, the Clerk's Office, the Treasurer's Office, the Crest Hill Lions Club, everybody that participated in that event. It did exceed my expectations also. It was long overdue because of COVID, when we had to hold off for 2 years before we did it. But compliments to you and your staff for how well organized everything was. You know, I was expecting 2 or 3 trucks, and I think you had probably close to a dozen trucks for the kids to climb on and beat the horns and everything else. So I thought that the quiet hour for our special needs residents was a fantastic idea, because there was quite a few of them that went through also for their quiet time, which was another positive. I heard nothing but positive comments about the Touch a Truck. I also heard a lot of positive comments about the Public Works facility. And, you know, hopefully next year it can even be bigger and better. So thank you for everything that you did also for this. Any other questions or comments of Public Works?
Yeah, I'll reiterate what everybody else has said. You know, my wife and brought my 3 kids, and we had a great time, Mark. You could see the smiles in their faces, and like Claudia said, the rest of the kids. The activities, they had a couple of baseball games that they had to get to, but they actually didn't want to leave because they kept playing the games. So, yeah, thanks. I was quite pleasantly surprised to see the representation of all the staff and employees too. It was great to kind of come together as one and have a great event. So, thank you.
And you know what touched me the most? That flag, the huge flag in the middle on the top. That was like, I was like, wow, very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. I had to work on Saturday, so unfortunately I could not attend the event, but just everything I've heard sounds like it was a huge success. People had a great time coming out. Thank you to you and your staff for putting it on. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our city engineer, Ron Wiedemann. Good evening, Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item tonight. We're looking for a motion to approve the award and execution of the contract documents by the mayor with J&J Newell Concrete Contractors for the 2022 concrete flat work contract. This contract is for all the concrete repairs required due to repairs of underground infrastructure by Public Works, i.e. curb gutter, driveways, things like that. Contract was set up this year in order to lock in our prices. It's a 12-month contract with a 1-year extension. So we have that in there as new. We had 6 local contractors pick up, but only 1 actually dropped off a bid, which is the same one that we had last year. He kind of specializes in this type of work. So you see the bid results there, J&J Newell. It's a $40,226 was his total bid, and that's just a single unit price contract. Obviously, the final numbers will be based on the number of repairs that they do. So that's all I have right there in your packet. Should be attached a bid tab, and I also referenced in a comparison of prices from last year. So right now, that's what I'm looking for is a motion to approve the award and execution of these documents.
So move.
Second. Nate.
We have motion by Alderman Albert, seconded by Alderperson Oberlin for the approval to J&J Newell and Company, concrete contractors. Yeah, we've had them for a few years now, and they actually are doing very good work. So, in the amount of $40,226. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
And John Verche.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And that's all I have, unless any additional questions.
Any questions of city engineer? All right, thanks, Ron. Moving on to Community and Economic Development Director, Tony Budzakowski. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have nothing new on the agenda this evening, but I do want to thank you and city staff for the warm welcome this past week. I appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Any questions of Tony? All right, thanks, Tony. Police Department, we have with us this evening Deputy Chief Jason Opiola. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, everyone. I have nothing on the agenda. Your police report is in your packet. Just wanted to remind everyone we will be doing our Memorial Day enforcement. We set that out on social media where we're focusing on occupant protection. Again, this is through an IDOT grant, so comes at no extra additional cost to the city to put extra officers out on the roads to try to enforce seatbelt violations. I'll be there to entertain any questions if you have any.
Any questions of the Police Department? Thanks, Jason. Moving on to the Mayor's report, I have no agenda items this evening, but I do have some comments that I would like to make. First of all, we had our Veterans and Police Memorial Garden cleanup last Friday on May 13th. To get ready for our Memorial Day program, I certainly would like to extend my gratitude and thanks to the following individuals who helped us. Our City Treasurer, Glenn Conklin, Alderwoman of Ward 2, Claudia Gazal, our Alderman of Ward 4, Nate Albert, also Trent Albert, Bill Gallagher, Rod Berkey, Dave Majirich, Nick Parks, Vicky Solomon, and also to Matt Deletsky and to the Crest Public Works for all the supplies that they gave us to work with on that day. So without those volunteers, we would certainly not have made the garden look as nice as it is. And we did everything to set it up for our Memorial Day program for 2022. So to all our residents and those watching us on television, please join us for our 34th annual Memorial Day ceremony, which will be held on Monday, May 30th at 2 p.m. at our Veterans and Police Memorial Garden, which will be located right here at 1610 Plainfield Road. The Frankfurt Brass Band will be performing a pre-concert starting at about 1:40. The program will begin at 2, and they will be performing patriotic music during the program. Our guest speakers will be 2 Crest Hill residents who are both World War II veterans, Mr. Don Lawler, who is a U.S. Air Force World War II veteran, and Mr. Chester Bozek, who is a United States Navy World War II veteran, and then got redrafted 2 years later and joined the U.S. Army and was enlisted with the Army in the Korean War. So please join us as we honor and remember both our veterans and our police officers who were killed in the line of duty. It is the sacrifices of these individuals that we enjoy the freedoms that we have today. So please attend. There will be some light refreshments served following the program. The event will take about 1 hour in total. Also, my wife Vicki and I attended the Lockport Township Fire Department Awards and Banquet Dinner at Prairie Bluff Golf Course on May 6th. That was their first time that they gathered back together. So they did 3 years of awards to the fire department individuals over 3 years for exemplary service. Several of those calls were in the city of Crest Hill. So many thanks to Fire Chief John Connor for the invitation. It was a wonderful program to recognize all of the men and women of our fire department for the hard work that they do and the service that they provide to our citizens, both with ambulance calls and with the fire calls. Also, last Tuesday on May 11th, I was at Cheney Manji School for their 5th grade graduation of the DARE program. There were a total of 46 students there. And again, the staff, Ms. Saratella and Miss Goulas, do a fantastic job with the 5th grade students with DARE. This afternoon, my wife Vicki and I attended the Caroline Lakes Peace Officer Memorial Day ceremony, which they had at 2 p.m. in honor of all the police officers in the city of Crest Hill, in Will County, and in the Illinois State Police, to memorialize them and those individuals who were killed in the line of duty. It was actually a very solemn and well put together program by the Caroline Lakes Veterans Group, led by Bill Thomas. There were honor guards there from Will County, and also the bagpiper was there also. So that was a very solemn occasion there also. Thanks to Caroline Lakes Veterans. Tomorrow night I will be at Richland Grade School. Their 4th graders will have their graduation. They have about 120 students there. And again, all the teachers at Richland do a fantastic job with the 4th graders. We try to lay the foundation. We've been doing it for 30 years as a city with the DARE programs. Speaking about graduates, I certainly want to extend my congratulations to all of the graduates from all of the schools, grade school, kindergarten, DARE graduation, high school, college, master's programs, everybody that graduated this month of May. Congratulations to all of you. I hope that all of your hopes and dreams come to fruition in the future. With that, I'll try to answer any questions that you may have of the mayor. Hearing none, we'll move on to our city clerk's report. Our city clerk, Christine Verchey. Chris?
Thank you. The only thing I have is the final notification of our citywide garage sale that starts this Thursday, May 19th through Sunday, May 22nd. Permits are available in the clerk's office for $5 and can be purchased between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. If you have any questions, please give the clerk's office a call at 815-741-5100. And that's all I have to say, and good luck to all the garage sailors.
Any questions of the city clerk? Okay, thanks, Chris. Moving on to our city treasurer, Glenn Conklin. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to report our regular and overtime payroll from 4/25/2022 through 5/8 of 2022 in the amount of $245,051.50. The only item I seek action on is I look for your a motion to approve our list of bills, which in that same time period total $1,270,462.75.
So moved as presented.
Second. We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for the approval of the list of bills. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Ken Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
I thank you all. I'll take questions if you have them.
Questions of the city treasurer?
Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Glenn. Unfinished business, we have nothing. Anyone? New business, anybody? Committee liaison reports, anyone? City council comments. Positive city council comments, anything that the city council would like to share with any of their constituents? Anybody? We'll begin with Ward 3, Alderperson Oberlin.
Well, I want to remind everybody that we're going to have a cleanup at the Ladise Memorial Park Sunday, May 22nd. It's right around the corner. Bring your tools, all your gardening ideas. We want to see that park look really spiffy for the 80th, and I'm really depending on some volunteers to help us accomplish that. And then that's 11 o'clock, Sunday, May 22nd. And then remind everybody the 80th memorial of Ladis will be Sunday, June 12th at 11 o'clock a.m. And that will be a very big milestone, 80 years. And with the tempest of our world today, I think it's really important that we honor this and understand what it's all about. So I hope to see a lot of people there. Thank you.
Alderman Sapiti?
I too would like to congratulate all the graduates this year. All your hard work and dedication has really paid off, no matter what level you're graduating from. And I especially want to send a special congratulations to my son Thomas, who's graduating from Lockport Township High School. Love you, buddy.
Ward 4, Alderman Albert.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Alderman Kubal?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Ward 1, Alderman Dyke.
Yeah, just hope everyone takes time to remember the vets this year, Memorial Day, and if you see any vets out there, give them a thank you for their service, past and present.
Alderman Verche.
Nothing at this time.
Ward 2, Alderman Jefferson.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Gazal.
I want to congratulate the Richland Band. They did an amazing job. We went to state and they got superior. The sad part is the 8th graders are no longer will be playing. Last Thursday was the last time playing. These kids did an amazing job. And I want to wish them the best of luck at Lockport. I hope you continue enjoying the band. We do gonna miss them next year because for 2 years these kids didn't play music, and for them to go all the way to state and get superior, that tells you a lot, the 7th graders and the 8th graders. So good job, y'all, and I look forward to see you graduation next week. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, public comment. Anyone like to address City Council, please step to the podium, state your name for the record. Your address is optional. Let the record show that no one has approached the podium. To our City Attorney, Mike Stiff, is there a need for an executive session, Mike?
There is not.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
We have a motion for an adjournment by Alderman Dyke, seconded by Alderman Verche. Roll call, please.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 8:32 PM. I thank you and good evening.